Welcome back. It is the 23rd of January, 1942, in the Wirraway versus Heclapar play-by-mail campaign. Primary activity today, I expect to be allied. I think Heclapar has thought about it enough, and his plan will be to attack at Clark Field. I don't think he'll win outright, and his pattern is shock attack when he feels like he has the advantage. So uh, I'm I've done the math. I think my troops there will hold and hopefully inflict significant losses on the Filipinos and the Americans, but we will see. Meanwhile, day 17 takes a couple more hits. One of them happened to be penetrating, and so it should be out of action off Java, and our troops are fully loaded for our phase 2 operations and are on their way, or just beginning to be on their way. And meanwhile, we're also going to land in the Indian Ocean. You'll see. I hope. Assuming I didn't make a mistake with the settings. Sometimes happens. Oh, one of our submarines operating off Ceylon found a small transport. This is a good reminder. Now I need to make sure to move them because the relatively excellent British ASW ships will presumably be on their way to hunt down my submarines. Other than a few mines, he hasn't attempted to interdict our operations in the Santa Cruz Islands. So there's Blair. So I didn't misset the invasion task force. It's good. They'll be fully unloaded and ready to take Port Blair. I don't desperately need Port Blair at the moment because I took little um, Andaman next to it where I've got patrol aircraft covering the Indian Ocean. I'd still like to have it and be able to use a large unit of Dynas trained in naval search to relieve some pressure on my. Unlike the Allies, of course, if you play Japan, you know you're always short, long range floatplanes. Mavises and Hunleys. It's easy to create plenty of the shorter range single engine float plane units to cover your bases. So my minesweepers stumble into a mine layer. Hopefully they'll return. Yes, they did. Our task forces are bouncing around the Java Sea trying to avoid each other. Didn't expect to find any of his fighters after the drubbing that Tiny Air Group gave to First Squadron of the ABG yesterday. Sure enough. Ooh, no cap above his fortress at Bandwin. I use the term fortress perhaps liberally. We'll see. Betty's providing ground support to an attack against the cut-off Commonwealth troops at Kuala Lumpur. Hopefully, my light bombers will hit the Chinese units that are trying to close the door on my divisions south of Changsha. Weather looks suboptimal, but okay. So we're way up high, bombing Bandoing, just trying to get few runway hits and destroy supply and not lose aircraft. Okay, so this is good. Only a few hits. We're at 20,000 feet. We're bombing from 1 hex away, so our ops losses should be quite low, and we can't really afford. I'm not building very many lilies, and I lost 9 last turn, so I got to keep my lily losses reasonable. Sonya's I've got plenty of. Sonya's, of course, bombing this high are going to do very little good, but I don't want to commit my more formidable bombers, Sally's and Betty's, to what essentially is just a fort building suppression mission at the moment. You're going to need those aircraft for phase 2 operations pretty soon. Sweeps and long range cap. Again, you put a cap. Good. Sonya's going in. Don't expect him to do much damage. Let's say 70th Chinese Corps. Good. So they're hitting all his units moving there, slowing down their progress while reinforcements approach. Okay, pretty quiet. Now let's see what happens. Ah, DD Brook at Pago. Nothing very exciting. Doesn't get a bead on RO64. Don't generally send my submarines into shallow water hexes, uh, except very early in the war against the US. will start suffering casualties rapidly as soon as US ASW upgrades. Frankly, they'll suffer casualties in deep water too. It's just less uh, a sure death sentence. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, delivered attack by a tank regiment, a veteran infantry regiment, a gun regiment. Just short of the 2-to-1 needed. It's not low on supply yet. Ratio was slightly in my favor, but a bit of an underwhelming attack, uh, though the terrain is good for him. Bombardment along the Ankang Highway. Unless reinforcements his arrive soon, this fight was just about over. You can see just from the bombardment, he lost 7 destroyed squads. 2 tank regiments squaring off against remnants from Batavia. Others. Again, just short of the 2-to-1 needed. Don't mind this level of destruction, but I still want him to retreat. Nothing much going on here. These are all Dutch remnants of Palembang getting chased by light tanks. Okay, bombardment. This is my bombardment. You can see I have essentially a division equivalent in the hex, while he has 1100 AV. Yep. Okay. Take Norfolk. Oh, yep. So here's a shock attack. Let's see. He's got 2 tank regiments, and my AT guns didn't make it into the hex this turn. It's not ideal for me. Okay, he does pretty well. Yeah, I don't like this ratio at all, though he had a lot of squads destroyed. Well, he didn't take the hex, but it's closer than I would have liked. I do have some since I can get there relatively quickly, and I have 2 anti-tank gun units that are a day or 2 away, and I can apply air power. I'm not worried about this in Luzon at all. Uh, I have adequate theater reserves. Um, the more he fights, the quicker he consumes his available supply, as long as he doesn't get access to a significant amount of my supply through victory. But a little closer than I had calculated in my mind, but not too bad. Great. So he has three good corps at Xinjiang and another couple on their way. You can see in times two terrain, he's going to probably struggle to make much headway there as long as we can keep supplied. Okay, well, I'm going to speed through the end phase of this turn here. Let's take a look. We can check it first. Don't expect. I lost a Babs. He lost a Plenum and a DC2. Does that match? It matches. Don't see any other major changes to losses. Looks like we're ready to buy out another regiment of the veteran Korean infantry units. So let's take a look at our units here at Clark. 20th Brigade got pretty much slammed. This is under strength, close to full strength, but it's inexperienced unit. Let's see. And they're not that a little more experienced. So our two line regiments with a little more experience are in decent shape, still have forts. Wouldn't expect the artillery to be. The recon regiment is okay. Down to a single AT gun. Regiment is in good shape. Okay. Supply have a very experienced full infantry brigade, two full regiments right here. I was gonna unload it at Batangas, but I can run it around at full speed and then load it at Lincoln or San Fernando. Problem is, those are size 1 forts, so the unloading will be slow. Amphib bonus doesn't help at your own base. Let's check on our AT guns. Yeah, they're still a turn away. I think he's likely pretty disrupted, but we'll probably have to try to apply air power. Use this regiment that I had intended to help take Manila to stabilize the situation at Clark. And I'm going to buy out another veteran regiment at Fuson. I was originally going to buy out the third, which is inexperienced, and let it build up experience fighting on Luzon, but probably have to grab a veteran unit. Cost. I have enough. Uh, I should have. Yep, I've got on the way here to move a regiment, so veteran regiment, send it straight here to again help me stabilize that situation. They were going to go that direction anyway. It's just a matter of which regiment I buy out. Okay. 12th Brigade is ready to cross the river. So it is 4 turns from reopening. We'll take 1, 2, 3, 4 approximately turns to reopen ground supply to my units here. Let's check low on supply. We've been, so acceptable. I think we're just about ready to attack again here. Let's tank units. Exception of the well, I have to sit out. I'm gonna have to recombine my divisions, wait a turn, and then attack. Check on our reinforcements, second echelon. Have this and the 36 to swap out. So we're going to go ahead and order the 34th and the 40th to attack, and they'll attack until they're combat ineffective, and then we'll swap them out with second echelon divisions. And then we have 2 more divisions to rotate here, and you can see our reinforcements arriving south of Nanchang to hope reopen this pocket around Xinxiang. My hope is not a course of action, but hope is he will attack here, consume supply, and damage his units just in time for my second echelon to arrive and exploit. Again, I'm not gonna wouldn't attack this way again. I go straight in from Wuchang to Shangshan. But in the end, you just got to fight the Chinese and fight the Chinese until you use up their supply and wear them down. Um, unless your opponent makes significant mistakes, uh, which isn't actually as much fun if they botch the defense significantly. You just got to be willing to fight and fight and fight, be persistent, and resupply. Um, and eventually, the Chinese, assuming you've cut off supply from Burma. Okay. We'll go ahead and take Port Blair, but it's critical to my situation at the moment. I have Mavis is covering the Bay of Bengal. I have Nels covering the Bay of Bengal, and my invasion task forces are ready to move into the Indian Ocean. Mini KB is with the invasion task forces. KB proper is moving so far undetected through the Indian Ocean, and we'll link up Cindy's Island. That's good. I'll probably make a good bit of noise down towards Darwin and using bombers and surface ships to see if I can get a bit of his attention here. Samawaki is now level 2, so I can sweep from here. But I need to get AV to be able to sweep. I have plenty of Ambone to send. Gabon is my major staging base here. Havana Sea, Timor Sea. Okay, very good. Let's check Westpac. So our forces are moving on Nouméa. Our destroyers have withdrawn from Norfolk Island. And we have most of the key bases, at least temporarily held. The New Hebrides, consolidating dot base cleanup in the Solomons, building out Russell and Tagula Island, and Normanby Island. Finished most of our dot base cleanup here. We still have to take New Britain, where the Aussies have retreated from, and do some more dot base cleanup over coming days and weeks. Looks like he has submarines now operating extensively in this area. I need to reroute those transport task forces. What's going on in the illusions? So we have Cold Bay. No change here. We're essentially now ready for our Dutch Harbor offensive. Looking to see how my airfield development is coming pretty darn slowly. Okay, so we have two Special Naval Landing Force units. Yeah, technically, they're made up of Special Naval Landing Force squads and the Veteran Infantry Regiment. We have two Regado class battleships, destroyers like cruisers, and in a couple days we'll have two carriers. The Saga, who's getting some repair work done while we're waiting for the arrival of a light carrier, which is coming, let's see. So Shoho's 2 days away. But we'll have to upgrade her air group to zeros uh, before we move out. So we've got 3-4 days. I resize that air group, uh, then upgrade it. Probably have 4 days before the carriers are ready. What's my pool of Z? Like, so I have 18 zeros. Really need 27. Building approximately 3 a turn. So yeah. So 3 days to get to 27 zeros to fill out show air group. I typically use my light carriers with full complements of fighters on board. Um, they help provide cap to the fleet carriers. Appreciate you following these battles. And again, I always appreciate that when you follow the YouTube channel, press that follow button and press that like. And I look forward to our next chance to talk.